Hello, greetings from the Bronx, mighty New York City. My name is Daniel Berkey, and I'm making this video. I'm not a videographer, so you have to bear with. Obviously, it's pretty crude, shades of the old days of YouTube. But I'm compelled to do this because I saw a video that you, Simon Dan, did. And before I get into that, I just want to say that I really respect you, how articulate you are, you're knowledgeable, and you provide viewers with some insight into scientific principles, which many people should have learned from grade school. I used to be a physicist and a mathematician. I haven't worked that discipline for a long time, but some of your videos are so incredibly articulate, and that's the way I justify them, is because you have to deal with some people who have some pretty out there notions, and people who need a little bit of help. And so sometimes I wonder why you actually bother to do it, but then I thought, well, maybe what you're doing is actually helping some of these people, like pricking them into some self-awareness, and maybe they can pick up a science book and take a little bit more seriously what's going on. This is in response to one of the videos that you did that was in response to a video that you received. I watched that video and it made me angry. And I think on the video, you also said it made you angry. It's about this little gentleman who came into some big store like a Walmart or a Target or some correspondingly huge mega store in England, and bought a book that was for kids about science, and then promptly videoed himself while ripping pages out and giving this long hyperbabble narrative about how it's all BS. Well, both of us know, and most of the people know on this planet who have a head on their shoulders, that it's also BS, what he's saying. Everyone is entitled to their own belief system, and I'm not coming down on that. I'm not going to. But this kind of pushed the envelope for me a little too far, and so I felt I needed to make a response video, sort of a tit for tat, a quid pro quo. That's a very popular phrase right now in America, quid pro quo. It's going to be elevated into stardom, talking about something that I'm not going to bring up right now. Let's confine our discussion to this gentleman. And so I rummaged through some of my stuff. I've got boxes of books, hundreds, maybe thousands of books, and some of them are in storage. And I found a book, I did, that's very appropriate as a response to this young man. I don't know if this man is ever going to see this. I don't even know if you're going to watch it. I tend to talk too much, so let's get into this. This book. I used to look at this book with a great deal of respect as a young kid. And I thought to myself, well, maybe, some of these things should be reviewed right now. I mean, a lot of people are being fed this stuff as opposed to science. They're being fed this stuff like let's get into it right away. Like the 7-day creation. It's Genesis. God made the heaven and the earth. And, here it is. Here it is. In the beginning, God made heaven and the earth. Yeah, I don't think we really need that anymore. And the follow-up is, continuing more of the follow-up about God made the world in 6 days, and then he rested on the 7th. What did God do? He took a Vicodin the size of the moon. So, okay, we got that, and we got, Moses and the Red Sea. Now, that's a really interesting thing, because all I can think of Chuck, oh my God, Heston. And I want to think about Chuck Heston. I mean, he was a great actor for what he did. And, this book in general inspired a lot of really interesting scripts. Some of them were kind of, so-so. Cecil B. DeMille did cartoon comic book versions of it. I think people could do better than that. But some of the scripts have come out lately are pretty good, but that's where they should reside. Not in the heads of kids and, crossing the Red Sea. Moses and his staff. Chuck, Chuck rules. And, we can go on through the blood and guts. There's a lot of mayhem and bloodshed. I mean, that's very appropriate these days. There's a lot of bloodshed going on. I think that's very sad. And, Here's the Mennonite. Oh, yeah, this is really bloody. I mean, this is like, are you feeding this to kids? I mean, they're reading about this mayhem. Oh, yeah. Oh, this one right here. That's, no, we're not even going to get into that. Well, let's jump ahead. You know, I could talk all day about this. Let's go on to, the New Testament. Yeah, let's get past all the bloodshed and the carnage and everyone's sleeping with everyone else. And, David, the one who wrote the Psalms. Let's go back here for a minute in the Psalms. Yeah, he was stopping somebody's wife, and he had the guy, here we are. He had the guy killed, so he could keep on stopping his wife. And some of the Psalms are good, but we don't really need them. And let's abandon these Psalms. Let's get on to the New Testament and Jesus Christ, our only Lord and Savior. Yes, he died on the cross to save all mankind, and everyone should bow to him. And I think, we could do without that. I don't think that's really very necessary. It's a good story, I mean, depending on how you're smoking or what you're shooting up. No, I don't want to advocate drugs. No, that's not what I'm doing here. It's just about as good as drugs. And, you can go on and on. Oh, yeah. The New Testament, the virgin birth, that is really a kicker. People actually believe this, They have every right to, but they feed it to kids. And, that guy who's ripping up the science book that is documented, which can be proven and it can be falsified. That's one thing that some people don't understand, that theories have to have, according to confirmation theory, a falsifiability. If you cannot falsify a theory, then there's not a theory, and it is nowhere near a fact. And there are very few laws. Even gravity has come into question, but we won't get into that. I follow the elementary particle physics back in the days. I studied Murray Gell-Mann and his Eightfold Way, elementary particle physics. That was a long time ago. It's just, I could go on, and this book is like loaded with BS. And it's taken for truth for some people. They actually pray to this. They make songs. They build buildings. They devote a lot of energy to something that is complete, utter nonsense, to somebody who has a mind on their shoulders to look at what's going on in the world. That's all. What's going on in the world? Really, in the world, the heliocentric world. Oh, did you see, by any chance, the space, the ISS recently had a repair walk with two female astronauts, and it was brilliant. I watched it, and you know what they did? Did you see that? 360 that they did? I think they did that especially for the people that you address. So I'm making a real mess here. I didn't go to a store. I didn't buy this. This was my own book, and I think I've said enough. You, Simon Dan, Bob the Science Guy, you keep going. Because I think what you're doing is very worthwhile. It's very articulate, and people need to know it. Because the force of conspiracy theories, the tinfoil hat nonsense is going on, it's gaining momentum. Just as our fair president here, the United States, is gaining momentum. No matter what god-awful nonsense he spews, the people, more. It's terribly sad. And that's not something I can joke about, because it's very real. And there's nothing that we can really do about it except think. 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 Thank you.